that has come in a little bit later. Steve was talking about these are rescheduled, the 5,000-meter heats from this morning, so a few people still didn't know that they were on this evening, and we do have British involvement in the second one. And Amy Eloise Marcotte alongside Jessica Hull. She finished 7th in the 1,500 meters, actually the same position as in Eugene at last year's World Championships. Now, Echgayehu Tai bronze in the 10,000 meters behind Gurif Segai and Gide. Gide not doubling, but Segai was, as you saw. So we pause on Lilian Rengaruk, who started off, as so many do, in a good cross-country runner, but has come down to 14.23 this season. There's Batacletti of Italy, 7th in Tokyo at the Olympic Games in the 5,000. Well, Japan lost both their entrants in the first heat. Neither Hironaka nor Yamamoto able to go through, but Tanaka, perhaps their best chance of progress. He of China alongside Luna of Argentina. Argentina, not an athletics nation that has had too much success over the years. It's not a sport in which they focus, particularly Argentina. So move to the front wave there. You see the line-up because there are, what, 20 athletes here, so you have two waves. Lola Heath of the athletes refugee team alongside Galvan of Mexico. So Sifan Hassan still with the bandaging on her elbow after that fall, that dramatic fall in the 10,000 meters, and then came back and raced well, bronze medal in the 1500s, but could not catch this woman. So to have Sifan Hassan alongside Faith Kipyegon, well, we know where most of the attention will focus in this race. Faith Kipyegon, fresh off her 3rd world title over 1,500 meters, the Olympic champion as well, and Natasha Rogers of the United States also here, and another one who's gone below 15 minutes. Muttering and thoughts in preparation for Sifan Hassan. But for the likes of Hassan and Kipyegon and a few others beside Tai as well, this should be, well, will be a stroll. I'm very, very interested to see if anybody does what we now call an Agata Kauna of Latvia. It was genuinely wonderful to see, because and sometimes the heats of the 5,000 can be fairly straightforward and fairly ordinary because of that, because you know just about who's going to go through. But when you have somebody who takes it on, becomes that rabbit to be chased down, it just brings that extra dimension to it. And I wonder if anybody is going to do it here. There's so many big names in this one.
Well, there were big names in the other one, in the likes of Guraf Segai, who was hiding in the middle of the pack. But the difference here is that now Sifan Hassan is at the front of that pack, so she's controlling it, and they're not jogging either, so it's not a disrespectful pace. I think that was really what caused Agata Kauna to kind of snap and just think, I'm not going to just jog around. In all likelihood, if I make the final, that might become a tactical affair. So if I'm in shape to run a personal best, I'm going to try and do it here. And I think maybe Sifan Hassan deciding here that she just wants to run a little bit of that lactate out of her legs just by running a little bit quicker. It's not a pace that's going to ask a lot of questions, 73-second lap for her there. But she is just stretching out and just maybe just thinking, you know what, Faith Kipyegon, if you're going to step up, we're going to make it tougher. I'm doing a lot of laps this week, so why don't you do a lot of laps at a decent pace?
Yeah, it's very different to the last race already, because it is the mighty Sifan Hassan at the front. Just a chance to talk about Amy Eloise Marcotte. It's not quite this season, not quite running the same kind of times that we saw last season. There were a few niggles at the very start of the year, a bit of illness as well. And so this will be a very tall order for Amy Eloise Marcotte to go through.
It will. She's definitely picking up as she moves through the season, which is a good thing. But as she said, she's kind of playing catch up and just needs to make sure that her body's healthy.
Marinvek Romanchuk in the triple jump qualification. Someone you know well, Jazz?
Someone I know very well. Oh, she'll be so pleased with that. Marina had 3 fouls in the long jump competition, and she'll be so relieved to see that green flag here in the triple jump and to be making such light work of this women's triple jump qualification. We'll wait to see exactly what the distance was, but she's got to be happy with that. That sends her straight through to the final, and she just looks so much more confident. She looks like she's turned up today and said, there's no way I'm letting this happen again. She is a confident long jumper and triple jumper, and of course is already a medalist at this event.
A great competitor, Beck Romanchuk, and that final on Friday, Beck Romanchuk, 14:55.
I think a sigh of relief there, which I would be feeling the exact same. Perez Hernandez now on the runway, another woman we'd expect to be seeing feature in the triple jump final. Fast on the runway with a little check right before the board, but it's still enough. It looks like we may be having quite a few automatic qualifiers in this women's triple jump, and everybody's looking very confident.
Yeah, good conditions, it's warm, it's still, and that blistering heat of midday has dropped off slightly. Very good conditions, and Perez Hernandez of Cuba, 14:50. Another capital Q and another athlete who books their place in that final on Friday.
And these women aren't just scraping over the qualifying distance. We're seeing many of them really, really go for it. And now we have Kimmy Williams on the runway. Kimmy's one of my own training partners. Our coach, Aston Moore, will be watching on with a keen eye. She's had a few issues this season, but is looking much more like herself there. And that is right up by that big Q line. She's taken quite some time to get herself into shape this season. She wasn't able to compete at the Jamaican trials due to an ankle issue, but she's been training hard. I've been training alongside her, and I know she's been working to get back in shape for this. Has she done enough there to qualify for the final?
Well, auto qualifying is 14:30. It's around that kind of distance. Williams applauding herself because it's bang on. 14:30 does get that capital Q and books another place in the final.
That's another woman that can pack up her spikes and go home and rest.
So back to the second heat of the women's 5,000 metres, and Jess Hull just taking on some water. Water available in the 5,000. Not often that you find a 5,000 metres with water available or being taken.
Exactly, and Jess Hull there demonstrating how hard it is to drink from a cardboard cup as well when you are moving at a fairly decent speed. It's hard enough in the marathon. I'm not sure she got much water into her mouth. It does depend on the, what do they call it, the wet bulb globe temperature. I think it's something to do with that, whether it gets to a certain level, then they have to put the water out and make it available for 5,000 metres. I'm not sure anyone took any in the first race.
No, it's still upward of 30 degrees down there, and humid as well. Feels more humid tonight as well. But Sifan Hassan, again, it's a different race this second heat. Sifan Hassan is made differently. Mentally, she's different. She went out apparently after the 1,500 metre final and did a set of 400s. What was she running? 63, 64s?
64.5s, I think.
Right,
the spy in the com box is informing us.
Okay.
Not sure why she needed to, but I think she just feels like, I mean, she's certainly running herself into shape and trying to also teach the lady in shot there, Faith Kipyegon, a little bit about putting back-to-back 5,000 metre races together in a championship. So I'm not sure Sifan really needs to be running 253 kilometres, which is what she's doing now. I mean, she's certainly taken a bit of a leaf out of Agata Counter's book, only she can sustain it, and that's why they're a big group that have gone with that. They will start looking up, they will start realising at the moment there aren't 8 women away in that lead group, so they will kind of stay on the train, if you like, until people start to drop off the back, and then you will see people start to calculate whether they can just back off a little bit.
Got a shot of Throweni Hailu there, the Ethiopian who missed out in the medals by a place in the 1,500 metres in Tokyo and Eugene. World indoor silver last year over 800 metres. 5,000 is an interesting distance because you get some coming down from 10,000, some middle distance 800, 1,500 metre runners in particular moving up. There are some who can do all of them, Hassan in particular.
Well, that's the other thing I was about to say. When she announced this challenge, everybody thought she is completely crazy. She's not in the shape she was when she attempted it at the Olympics. But yet, so far, she's very nearly matched what she did in the Olympics because she was so close to that gold in the 10,000 meters, would have come away with at least a silver there, and then did match the bronze medal from the 1500 meters. So it looked like such a tall order. Still don't know why she feels she needs to run so fast in this heat, but it's not looking just so stupid anymore.
The other interesting thing about the 5,000 meters now is that it is the distance, as we look at Amy-Eloise Marcotte, who is struggling. It's the distance that a lot of casual athletics viewers relate to in the UK and I suppose around the world because of parkrun and the distance. And when you look at a stadium and you see Hassan and Kipiegon and Regnaruk making it look so easy, you don't quite get an appreciation of the pace that they're moving at.
No, because it still does look so easy. We got an indication with Kauna. If you calculate that Sifan Hassan is now moving faster than Kauna was, but she looked as though she was really working hard, and by this point you were starting to see those signs of strain. Now the signs of strain are being shown by the athletes further down. Jess Hull has got dropped back into the third group there. Batacleti, who ran so well last year, is hanging on in there in those qualifying spots. Is she? Yeah, she is just the 8th person in that spot.
Yeah, there's a sort of group of 7 and then a little fracture, and Batacleti's hanging on. Amy-Eloise Marcotte is finding it very difficult, as we suspected. It is a very very good pace being set by Sifan Hassan. Even Jess Hull is feeling it now, and I wonder how much of the running that was in her legs from the 1500 meters is taking its toll.
You know what they said to her, Jess, go on, do it, it's fine, it's just the day after, it's only the heat, she'll be able to stay in the pack and pick it up in the final couple of laps. She wouldn't have been banking on Sifan Hassan hitting 3,000 meters in 8:46, because that is quick running, and you're substantially below 15-minute pace there. When we think the first heat was one, okay, they did a lot of the running in the last kilometre, but that was one just below 15 minutes. She could go below 14:30.
Yes, go out and try a 3-minute kilometre tomorrow if you want. I won't be responsible for any medical bills afterwards, but it is a fast pace. The other thing about that is when you look at Jessica Hull down there in about 10th place at the moment, then I suppose you just have to say, right, okay, that first group is gone, but I'm not in a battle with them. I'm in a battle to try and get into the top 8, and there may be others coming back to me. Which
there are. I'm just watching Natasha Rogers is sliding backwards. She's managed to just latch on to Batacleti as Batacleti went past her. But unfortunately, Jess Hull is a good 20-30 metres back further around the bend. She might yet be caught by Galvan, though, Rogers.
Yes, Rogers, the American, and Batacleti. You can see that gap with the top 6 now, and actually after Tanaka, the Japanese athlete, did a lot of hard work earlier on, she's just in danger of slipping away. She's hanging on, and again it's fascinating when you see that. We've talked about this before, Paula, when you see the athlete just hanging on the back, then you think, well, how difficult can it be to just maintain contact with that vest tantalizingly close in front of you, but then you just start to slip and the elastic starts to break.
It's so hard, because the fatigue is just building up in your legs, and particularly, as we keep saying, in humid conditions like this. It's warm, it's humid, that saps the energy just a little bit more, which makes it even more impressive that Sifan Hassan is doing this. And absolutely now I'm sure she is doing it to try and just fatigue Faith Kipyegon a little bit more. She couldn't do that because Sergei was in the other heat, so she could have no impact on her. She can tire out Tai and Hailu a little bit, and we have seen the effects of that, of running repeated rounds. We saw it with our 1500 meter girls when they run so fast in each of the rounds. Then you get to that final, it is hot, and we see how much Galvan has taken out in that last shot of Rogers just in one lap.
Just a metronomic rhythm set by Hassan. She glances up to the big screen to see how many are still with her, and there are 5 behind her, the same 5 that have been there with her, and then there's Batacleti, who's in that world of her own, but actually she's not. She seems to be coming back to things.
She is coming back, because Sifan Hassan has undoubtedly taken a foot off that accelerator now. She's just kind of cruising, and what Batacleti's done is merely maintain her pace, but she's going to see herself join on to the back. And Tanaka was extremely relieved, because she was about to drop off that pack when it started to ease off, and it's backed off now to outside of 70-second laps, which I think will be hugely welcome for the majority of the women there.
So now we have 6 in that first group, and then it's a big gap back to Galvan, the Mexican, who is high quality. He's run 14:49 this season. You can see that gap of about 30 meters or so, but she looks as if she's starting to close in a little bit as well.
Yeah, Batacleti tantalizingly was almost on the back of that group, and then I think it's just picked up just a tiny little bit, but she doesn't need to worry. She just needs to count in front of her. Have a look up at the screen. There's certainly, I don't think, any doubt that Galvan in shot there is going to close on Batacleti in the blue vest, just at the back of that lead pack of 6.
Well, in 9th place, Natasha Rogers at the moment, but she looks to be in a world of pain. She was looking over her shoulder just a moment ago, and I think she is heading in only one direction.
Yeah, she just tried to hold on to that pack for just a little bit too long, instead of, as Batacleti did, just letting them go and just banking that you were going to be able to reel yourself back into a top 8 position. Does make it interesting with the heats, with the simple first 8 qualifying, because there was no reason for this heat to go out as quickly as the first one did. The only reason that it's done that is because Sifan Hassan has led from gun to, I'm probably going to bet, not quite the tape, because Kipyegon will come past her at the end.
So Hassan and Kipyegon, Rengaruk and Tai in Hailu, the 2 Ethiopians. Tanaka in Japan will have somebody into the final after 2 went out in the previous heat. Tanaka has run very, very strongly indeed. Batacleti back in touch. And then there's that gap to Galvan, which certainly isn't growing anymore. And Galvan is 8th at the moment, 8 to go through, and only 8 to go through. You can see nobody entering stage right at the moment behind Galvan. So I think the top 8 are just about secure, really. Galvan is high enough quality to keep that pace going. And so now, you know, I mean, obviously as the bell sounds, Paula, there's no need to race. Or is there to try and, is it about showing what you have?
I think the 800-meter heats that we saw this morning, then there's a reason to win your heat, because it affects your seeding into the semi-final. Something like the 5,000 meters, there's zero reason to do it other than those mind games that we saw come into play in the first heat, where undoubtedly Chebet was just coming alongside Sergei just to show her that she can do it. And there will be huge mind games at play here between certainly Hassan and Kipyegon, and probably Taya trying to say something as well.
Chastening for the lapped athletes who are being passed by the flyers at the front, who are on their final lap, of course, so picking up the pace even more. But Hassan and Kipyegon just about side by side. Another duel on the track. Oh, and well, it won't matter too much for Regnaruk. She will get up and she'll qualify. The only way it would have mattered would be if she were injured, but she seems to be fine. So here we are. This is a sprint for victory in the heat of the 5,000 meters. Now, what's that about, Paula?
Egos.
Well,
basically, I think that was Kipyegon just saying, okay, you tried to take it hard out. You tried to see how tired I would get. I'm not letting you have any of it. And then Sifan Hassan just can't tap out that competitor in herself, can she? She just has to just raise it a little bit. And I think that's why we love her so much.
Sorry, that was... There's that mad dip at the finish just to get first place ahead of Kipyegon. Rogers is going to miss out. Steve's chuckling away as well.
What I loved it, Faith crossed the line and went to bend over, put her hands on her knees to go, wow, I'm tired, and then thought, oh no, and stood up again to go, no, I'm fine, really, I'm fine.
See, we talk about the psychology of the sprinters and the posturing on the start line, the psychology of it, but there is a bit of psychology in this as well, to say, look, I'm fresh, the final's not until Saturday, but hey, I've still got something.
You have to wind the clock back to last year's 5,000 meter final, so it's about what kick have you got, show me what you've got. There's some very tired athletes crossing the line here. So we saw it in the first heat with Sigai and with Chebet. Same thing. You know, they were involved last year. Taya was involved, and Sifan Hassan was involved, and Gidai was involved. There was 5 of them, wasn't there? So that's what it's about. It's about what have you got in your locker when we're tired? Can you kick? And Sifan is just going, I can run off the front and run hard, and trying to prove that she can still kick.
Just a decent time for Amy Eloise Marcotte's 15:30. Well, there's the fall there again. Well,
I mean, she's fine. She's up and qualified, so there's no need for a protest to go in. Undoubtedly, Taya ran into the back of her, and Rengaruk went down, jumped back up again as quickly as she could. So it doesn't affect it at all. I mean, I think there's also a little bit of, not bluffing, but a few more mind games at play here as well, because Sifan Hassan could now employ completely different tactics again in the final, and she's kind of maybe saying, here's one thing that I'm practicing. She did hit the track hard though, didn't she, and slid along, but she managed to get back up.
Yeah, it was Tai with a little hand on the back of Rengaruk there. I don't think that anything will come of that at all, because she got back up and she qualified. And again, just a reminder, hey, let's have a close-up look at this finish. Just imagine this is the final. Anyway, mind games, as we say. Kipyegon just leaning back on the line. Hassan saying, I'm here. And she takes the win in that one. And again, I just want to say, Amy Eloise Marcotte's in very, very hot conditions. She's not on that page, so it was 11th, 15:13. Big season's best time, so a good run for Amy Eloise Marcotte, but the top 8 were clear. And a Mexican record, a couple of records, Japanese record for Tanaka, but Hassan and Kipyegon out in front.